Welcome to Creative Mornings, Cardiff. That's right. Goodness me. Fantastic to see so many new faces here, and the usual ones as well. Hi, I'm Harry, and along with Lowry and the rest of the Creative Mornings team, we run Creative Mornings. We do this every month, apart from next month. Sorry, that's giving it away. So there are like 250 chapters of Creative Mornings all around the world in major cities and Cardiff. And so we do these talks typically the last Friday of every month. And so at this given time, there'll be, depending on time zones, obviously, this happening all around the world, which is pretty cool. Thank you so much for Ibby coming today. Really excited about this one. Let's get into it. We have a theme every month. Creative Mornings sends us a theme, which then I have to talk about. Our theme for July is mentor. It's chosen by a Glasgow chapter and illustrated by Molly Hankinson, and is presented by Adobe. No one is born with all the knowledge and skills they need to thrive in life. So ask for help. We all could do with a guide as we climb. Find your mentors and be a mentor in return. Your plans for growth are more likely to succeed if they include lifting others up as you rise. Fantastic. We're sponsored by Adobe. Thank you, Adobe. Thank you, Adobe Global. Thank you, Adobe UK. Now, seriously though, Adobe makes this happen. But also, we're also open to other sponsors to make sure that this shit keeps going. Because really, all this is a chance to get Cardiff's creative community together at least once a month and, get creative juices flowing. And then, the Adobe have an apprenticeship scheme. Find more out online. Sorry, Adobe, if you're watching this. More importantly, I want to thank our photographer today, James. James he's a writer, filmmaker, photographer, and he's volunteering today to take some amazing photos on his beautiful camera. This is a beautiful shot of you. What a dream. Goodness me. I'm not sure if you're single, I don't know.
Not anymore.
But multi-talented James has just written and directed a film called Bluebell Woods, which was selected for Carmarthen Bay Film Festival, which is pretty cool. Thanks, James. And then that just leaves me. I'm going to finish soon. We've got Ibby Abdi today. He's going to give us a talk. Really interesting creative director, community organizer, football shirt designer, basically multi-talented creative, and at the heart of everything he does is where he's from, Butetown, Grangetown, Cardiff. Couldn't be a better fit for Creative Mornings. I'm over the moon to have him here, so a round of applause for Ibby.
Thank you. What Good morning. My name's Ibby. Thank you, Harry. Thank you to the team at Creative Mornings. When Harry messaged me, I was like 100% I'm down, because one thing I do love is like if there's two candles and one candle can light another, in a sense of like putting light on and sharing any information, or even providing an influence, like I can be that light in a sense. And I love public speaking as well. It's like training. So yeah. So yeah, my name's Ibby. What I'm gonna do, I have a slideshow, but I'm gonna be talking through it. It's a bit like ChatGPT'd. So like, I'm not gonna read it word by word. I'm gonna just like be more real and like kind of be authentic as well. So yeah, it was launched in IBY is a streetwear brand. It's more than just a brand in a sense. I would say it's a community. I think customers and people that buy into the brand, they see it as that. They don't see it as just like a piece of clothing. They see it as like a part of a community, you know, and they might get, you know, let in with no ID in a club because they're wearing my brand, or something might happen like that. You know, like you never know. So yeah, we started in 2021. We started in lockdown. So before lockdown, I was working in Cardiff Council as a youth worker. I worked in the youth service, and I was just, you know, helping out, especially my community organising, finding, you know, there's a lot of issues in Bhutan, Grangetown when I was growing up, like drugs, just like unemployment, youth violence, etc. So I kind of become an advocate for, you know, bringing people together for a positive change, and worked with my mentors, Ali and a few others, to kind of bring young people to make them understand that, you know, there's different avenues you can go through to become successful in life, and it's not an easy thing, it's a hard thing. But then I realised I'm a creative at heart, because I enjoyed helping young people, but I was really bored of working for someone, and I kind of was capped on my creativity. So then I launched IBY in lockdown. I launched it by just ordering 200 caps that I designed off a manufacturer I didn't even know. My mum said I'm crazy, and then she shouted at me even after I said that it's my name. I'm naming the brand my name. But yeah, luckily enough, started selling out the boot of my car. It was a bit dodgy because it looked dodgy, but it wasn't dodgy. It was all legit. Started growing in the sense of like doing, you know, I started off with caps, and then started off with added like t-shirts onto the collection, and, you know, real hustle, just like promoting it non-stop in my communities and outside as well, and now we're here. But I'll take you a bit more through that journey. So I'm the founder. We can skip that. We can skip that as well. No, actually, no. So one of my main concerns, like growing up, it was like, you know, like there's communities in Wales that are not represented in the right way, or even represented at all in the UK, in the sense of like I always go London, and they'll just think Wales is just sheep and Gareth Bale. That's it. And it's a lot more than that. There's amazing people. There's a huge talent here, and there's amazing people doing real things. And there's people going through the same struggles and the same problems everywhere around the UK. And I kind of understood that my brand was kind of a spokesperson for it, in a sense of like, especially youth culture, pushing that, you know, there is communities in Cardiff and there is communities in Wales, just like every other community in the UK. So like when I used to drop in the start of my brand, people didn't even know there was a high-rise block of flats in Cardiff. They didn't even understand that. Like in London, it's common, but you know, they kind of never look into Wales because they don't have to. But I feel like it's an educational platform in a sense, also a clothing brand, also a community. So yeah, we've hit some like crazy milestones since we started. It's crazy even speaking to you guys about it now, because when I first started my brand, it was literally just for fun. I was always like loud and bubbly, and I used to wear like outlandish clothes. When I was growing up, I would always like be cut from a different cloth, in the sense of if my friends were wearing just normal basic tracksuits, I was always trying to one up them and wear something bright and colourful or try to stand out. And then I started my brand. And I kind of used that as a platform to make my own clothes that I kind of loved wearing, and especially shape and colours, etc. So ever since now, we have more than that. I have like 2,000 people in my requests on my Instagram that I haven't let in yet, but I'm gonna let them in my next drop. So we have like nearly 13,000 followers. Over 6k now. It's like 8k monthly email subscribers, and over 100,000 impressions, and I know they're just numbers, but that's just one way to like calculate growth. I'm not really a numbers person. I kind of like tend to just, as long as you enjoy what you're doing, I don't care about nothing else. But I feel like, especially in the game where I'm in, especially clothing, you got to be kind of focused on numbers. You got to know where you're kind of hitting, and especially like if there's other competitors out there, especially in the UK, you got to kind of compete. But the engagement's really good on the brand. Like every time I post, it's averaging like 1,500 likes on each post, and it's kind of like a cult following. I kind of tend to drop once before I took a long gap, by the way. I took like a 7-month hiatus. I just disappeared, and I have messages every day for a new drop, but I kind of done that to take a step back and actually see what I kind of built, because sometimes you're like, you know, you get too lost in the sauce, and you kind of just keep going, and you know, momentum is a great thing and consistency is great, but consistency with no vision and no real, like, you know, value, you kind of get lost in what you're doing. So I kind of took a 6-month break, and I went China, I went Guangzhou. Crazy out there. I was probably the only Somali ever in China at that time. But yeah, I kind of went on a whim because I had like a lot of manufacturing issues. If you're into clothing, like, there's a lot of issues with manufacturing that you go through every day. So I decided just to disappear and go there. I didn't have a visa at the time, so how I got in was so funny, because I decided on the day that I had to go, and I booked. So the only way you can get in China is if you book outwards. Your outwards flight has to be different from your inward flight. So you got to go from London to Guangzhou to Singapore, and then Singapore back to London. Otherwise, you need a visa, and you need to book it 3 months before at the embassy in London. So like, yeah, and I got interrogated for like 1 hour in China. Like, why are you here? I was like, oh yeah, I'm just visiting Singapore. But they didn't know that I was actually here for manufacturers. But I done that, and I kind of took a break from my mental health as well. You know, there's other problems, like personal problems, and you know, just like life issues, and just like growth in yourself. You kind of need that reflection to kind of come back stronger. But yeah, so yeah, we sold out every collection ever since, which is like crazy even saying it. Like, I can drop a tracksuit and sell it, but before I used to like struggle to even sell to my friends in the beginning. So yeah, these are some collections. They're like proper urban streetwear. Some of these tracksuits are like, these tracksuits are my bestseller, the black ones. I sold over like 500-600 of them when I first dropped them. And these are some shoots from Morocco. So like, these are the summer sets I've done. These are like nylon sets that I made from like LA Lakers inspired theme. And then going on, so I started dropping clothes, I started selling clothes, and then I kind of sat down and I was like, no, this is a bit boring now. Like, I'm a bit bored. I need to do something that like is monumental and kind of hits home. I'm a Cardiff fan, so I had a season ticket at Cardiff City for like, ever since I was like 14. I couldn't afford one, so my friend's dad, who's very rich, he got one for me. He was in the box, so I used to go with him every week, and then we got promoted. I was on the pitch, like when we ever first got promoted to the Premier League. So it kind of was like a 360 when I done this collab. I done a collab with Cardiff City Football Club, and it was like a moment in time where I had everyone's eyes to kind of promote Wales and Cardiff in the right light. And it was the first ever time actually where London and like people from London, people from like Scotland, Ireland, were kind of looking into Cardiff and using it for inspiration. And like, you know, I don't know how many, you know, decks I was on, like, you know, people talking about it, but I know there's a lot. I got reached out from Arsenal Football Club, Chelsea Football Club, their marketing teams, telling me, you know, they loved the collab, they loved what we done, and I found that great because it was like, yeah, like we can do what you can do in a sense. So this is a video from the collab. So we created a shirt that was used as, we put the map up basically, and we thought, how can we design a football shirt that kind of represents Cardiff and the streets of Cardiff and kind of tap into youth culture. I designed like 100 shirts, and then we found one, and it was actually the first ever design I made where we put the map of Cardiff on the shirt, and it looked amazing. So I'll show you the video and then I'll waffle a bit more.
Yo, what are you doing?
This is my city, and theirs, and hers. Maybe it's your city too. It's where heroes are made, on the pitch and down the local park. The first female Muslim referees in Wales, we got them. We're one of the oldest cities in the UK where cultures have come together.
Bet you didn't know that, did you?
This place is made by its people, but only when we stand together, shoulder to shoulder, blood running blue. When it feels like the odds are stacked, we get up, show up, and fight for our name in arenas, stadiums, and even your local barbershop.
Boy, this is too fresh.
You'll know where to find us, the home of the mighty. So let's show you what we're made of, and maybe you'll show us what you've got too. Made in Cardiff, inspired by you.
Thank you. So yeah, that video was like, it was insane to record, because normally when I record videos for my brand, it was always like just me and a videographer, and it was like models. But with this video, it was like a whole team, and I felt like a boss, because like I was like telling, there was like a director, there was like a second camera assistant. I was like, no, do this, and I felt like Kanye West, I swear. But it was great. It was like it's great to experience things like that, because it's like it shows growth, and it's like really enjoyable. Like I didn't even want to leave the set. I remember we extended. I extended 2 days just because like I wanted a. They thought it was because of, you know, just making sure everything was right, but it was just because I didn't want to leave the set. Like I used to wake up 8 in the morning and just like till like 4 or 5 p.m. It was just like in a van, just going to different locations, shooting with the model. It was just fun. It felt like I really enjoyed it, and that was the outcome of that. And it was my idea of trying to capture Cardiff in its best in its best self, because you know Cardiff has a lot of culture, and it's like, especially Wales and Cardiff, it has a lot of history. Like my ancestors, going back, like come to Cardiff for working in a seaman 1890s, early 1900s. So a lot of people wouldn't think that, but like it's crazy to think that in a sense. But I try to explain it through different ways. But you know, like the first ever Somalis, for example, that ever come to the UK worked in the ports down the bay. The first $1 million check in the world was signed in the coal exchange down the bay. That's crazy. Why Cardiff? Like that's crazy. But it's like a lot of people won't think that. So I tried to show them that, you know, there's a lot of culture here. There's a lot of different things going on. So yeah, and then yeah, on the day we sold out. I was a bit nervous on the day. We had like 1,000, 2,000 people turn up, and we only had like. I said 350, but there was actually 400 because I gave some to my family and friends. But I could have done more as well. The funny thing is, I could have done. New Balance gave me an option to like basically, you could do 1,000 pieces, you could do 2,000 pieces. But I kind of said no, I want 400 because it was more impactful. As in, like people that had that shirt could say, you know, there's only a limited amount, and actually represent it, wear it, and be proud of it. And on top of that, it kind of led to another collab that we're potentially going to do that will hit home even harder, because a lot of people didn't receive the first one. That's me complaining to Will that like it's not my fault because there's so many people turned up. He's like, what the hell is this? I was like, I don't know. I just added that into it, but it was great, you know. Like it was sick because like I'm a Cardiff fan, and they tend to not do collabs like this. But it was like really inspiring to see like the club be all for it and make it happen. And New Balance was great as well. Like they gave me full creative control, like to design the top. We had another design that I never signed off, but this was even better anyway. Going on. So these are some photos from the official release. I tried to keep it as Cardiff as possible. So we had like Joey Cordina, who's from Cardiff, who's a world champion boxer. These models, Liv, she's like a famous model. She started streetwear modeling through my brand, and kind of she's in London now, and she just models for like any brand you name it, she's modeled for it. And then we had to get that cool guy. That's my neighbour. So yeah, we teased the collab as well. So no one knew what was going on. We teased the collab for a while. We had the option to get billboards and stuff around Cardiff, and I didn't know what to put on the billboards. So I just basically put the design of the T-shirt, which is the map, and just New Balance, Ibby Cardiff, around Cardiff, and it just created some hype. They were like, "Oh, what's going on?" And like I had messages every 2 seconds. And no one knew that the design of the background was the actual design of the T-shirt. So when it come out, they were like, "Oh, it makes sense now." And it was sick. It built a lot of hype. And what was the tip of the iceberg is seeing my logo in the brand stadium, in the stadium, going around. I was just like, it sank deep. It was emotional. Like I took my mum to the booth as well, to the box. The first ever time she'd been to a game. She sat in the booth the whole game. She didn't come out, but yeah, it was great. And then going on to like events I've done around Cardiff and around the world. I do a lot of pop-up events. This is my first ever one. This is funny. There's a funny story behind it actually. So I don't tell no one. This is between me and you guys. But this is Grange Pavilion. Anyone familiar with Grange Pavilion? Yeah? Can I see hands, please? Yeah, okay, so everyone, yeah. It's so this is when I first started my brand. This is like early, like when I was hustling and getting it out there. I didn't have a location to do a pop-up, and I had like a few musicians that were like really big, and no one was like accepting it. I didn't have much budget, etc. So I just kind of booked it under Grange Pavilion as like a youth consultation event, but they didn't know. And I'm close to Grange Pavilion, so like I've been there for a long time. So I was hoping, because it was like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, no one was going to be there, and then like senior staff. But yeah, we had like 400 people turn up in a room that's supposed to be for 50 people. So it was like tight, but it was fun. And I had like phone calls from like neighbours. They were like, "Oh, what's going on in Grange Pavilion?" Like you can hear like because it's very close to the houses. You can hear all the noise. Yeah, I won't be doing that again. But it was sick. It was sick. This was another event. I was giving out. I have a lot of young people that love my brand and love what I do, but they can't really afford it. So I kind of created an event where they could shoot a basketball hoop, and if they score, they can buy a T-shirt for 50p. The T-shirt costs £40, £35 sometimes, but it was very expensive. So they had an option to shoot a hoop, win for 50p. If they miss, it's a fiver. So it was like a win-win in a sense. So we had like 300, 400 people turn up, and I only released the location like very shortly after, and they were going crazy over it. This is myself in Thailand, as you do. Yeah, I linked up with Saran, who's like a huge artist from Thailand, and he's like huge in Thailand, and we basically done a pop-up for his album, but we kind of linked it with my brand, and we had 2 locations that we done a pop-up in. We done 400 people in the first pop-up, and we done like another 500 in the other pop-up, which was crazy. Like for me to understand that I'll be in Thailand selling clothes, like that's nuts, like from my bedroom. So I'm always like grateful. And then last year we done a festival in the depot. This was like huge in a sense, because these names are big. I don't know if you know any of these artists like Nave Small, Strands, Rushy, Local. Like for any musician in Wales, because we kind of had people supporting from Wales. So we had Mace, we had Sonny, we had Luke RV, we had Local supporting these artists, which was like, you never really see them on a stage with artists like that. And Local, yeah, but none of the rest. But it was a great opportunity to kind of like bring Cardiff's finest and, you know, UK's finest to kind of be in the same dressing room, speak to each other, build connections. And also, like, we had fun things going on in the day. Like, we had a podcast on the stage before the event. Like, my aim of the event was to be informative and, like, help young people before they, like, party, in a sense. And we had, like, free haircuts. We had, like, a nail station. I sold clothes there. We had a photo booth. We had a huge, like, skate ramp in the middle of the depot where just skaters were, like, skating all day. They dipped after like 2 hours though. I was like, where are they gone? Yeah, but this is a video from the festival.
Bits I sold raw, I sold hits, sold out tours, press a brick, never froze, said I'll quit and sold some more. Show, different league, different goal. I'm not in a mood, cause my flight they're late. So I jumped on a private jet and I'm asking a pilot to eat. Yeah, the price too low, we ain't pulling up to that show. No, I'm repping for the O, the CEO, and I got the shoes on gold.
I talk about pressure, I don't feel pressure. Send a text on the chat line, give us some testers. Like, the way that you give in the ground. I'm the 2 bad holes in the drum. We can back and shit together. Yeah, we gon' rock this on
Yeah, that was. Yeah. That was on like 3 weeks' notice, so we had to. It was like, oh, I'm never doing a festival again in my head because it was like so much. Like, I'd rather just stick to what I know, which is a brand. But it's like very hectic in the sense of like, I had the idea, and then you have an idea, and then you got all the problems under it that you don't think about. You're just like, you're just locked in on the idea, and then you just like regret even thinking about it. We had like 6 weeks or 8 weeks, around 8 weeks before the actual event, and then we obviously booked the artists. But these artists that I know them personally, so like I had like a huge discount in a sense where like Nave Smalls would probably be like £15,000 for a set. It was less than even half to even book him. So it was really good where a lot of things like that happened, but then there was a lot of like stupid things like we had to get a lot of sign-offs for the artists. We also had like a lot of problems with like I had a huge audience under 18 that wanted to attend, so there were a lot of under 18s were buying tickets and they were coming to the door, and it was like an 18 plus event, so we had like that issue. But it all in all, it was really successful. We had over 1,400 people turn up on 3 weeks' notice, which was sick. And yeah, it was great. It was a fun day, but yeah, just never doing a festival again. Yeah, the future. So yeah, the future. I would say like trying to always consistently creating, but the problem with like always trying to break boundaries and go above and beyond what you're doing, it's annoying because you always got to break that barrier, and like you always got to do better than what you do. like next time I do a Cardiff City collab, like I have to do it 10 times better than what I actually done it as, which is annoying because you always got to top yourself. I don't know why. I should have just released the top saying IBY as a Cardiff shirt and then done this. But what I'm trying to say is you always got to be thinking and creatively thinking and trying to, you know, add the dots, add the T's, etc. But in the future, I got a lot of exciting things coming up. I took a huge break for a reason. People don't see, like, you know, the problems you have or, you know, just the issues behind the brand. And all the other things you go through, you know, like it could be, you know, like problems in your work if you work, or problems like, I go through a lot of, like, in the industry, especially what I'm going at, there's a lot of, like, acceptance, in a sense of, like, it's hard for people to accept me and what I'm doing, but you just got to kind of push beyond that. And keep going. I don't know how to kind of... Sorry, guys, I'm just waffling on, but it's hard. It's very hard, but you gotta kind of keep going, and you gotta stay, you know, steadfast and creating amazing things. And one of the things I'm focusing on as well is this year is trying to break London. So I have a few things in London I'm trying to do. I have a pop-up arranged for, like, the end of the year. It's gonna be like an Ibby Fest, but it's gonna be like a smaller one. With like Welsh artists and a lot of UK talent as well. I have another collab. It's an exclusive. It's a bigger collab than the Cardiff one, and we're trying to actually tell a story of Wales and trying to show the creative industry and, like, the amazing people here through one collab. But on top of all of that, I have, like, a lot of, like, collections that are going to be hard hitting. So we're shooting a jacket, my first ever jacket I've ever made. It's a sick jacket. I wish I could show you, but it's a sick jacket. It took me like a year to make, but we're shooting that in France, in the ski slope, the Alps basically. And like, to even do that, it's like a dream and a blessing. Like, to shoot it and to bring some of the team members out. But without all of that, like, without all the persistence and keep going, and the energy and the vision, I don't think I would have been here. But you kind of got to trust your gut and you got to believe in yourself, because I've had so many people, like, doubt me over and over again, like, and it helps. Like when I done a Cardiff City collab, or even when I was starting my first brand, like, there was friends that weren't even buying my clothes. Now they turned into, like, customers, and I had, like, just people, like, downplaying on social media, like, the material of the clothing, and then now that changed where they're bigging up the clothing. But you'll get all of that in any industry you go for. But the one thing I want you guys to understand is, if you got a passion or you got a belief in something, regardless of, you know, what other thing, you got to kind of go crazy. You got to be crazy to, like, make it happen. Like, the Cardiff City collab happened because I was crazy. It wasn't because everyone just said, yeah, you know, like, crack on. It wasn't because of that. It was like, you know, there was days where New Balance were being long to reply on email. Like, they were taking, like, 5-6 days to reply, and that just jars me off. I hate it. Like, you're on your email. Like, so I decided one day, where I was waiting for a sign-off, I drove all the way to the headquarters in, like it's like 4 hours away. It's by Manchester. And I just turned up in reception. I was like, oh, you didn't reply to my email. Yeah, I swear. I'm not even lying. I promise you. I got pictures. I record the whole thing just because when I'm older, I can just laugh. But the guy, you know, the guy is so funny because he looked at me and he kind of took me serious. Like, he's like, yeah, this guy's nuts. He just drove 4 hours. But you kind of got to do things like that to kind of make things happen. Even with, like, just like selling clothes and, like, my collections, I was always like, for example, Young Ads, who's, like, huge. He's, like, one of the biggest rappers in the UK. He was performing in Motorpoint Arena, and he messaged me 3 weeks before, and he was like, oh, I want some clothes, I'm coming to your city so I can wear on stage. And he ghosted me, he just disappeared, and I was fuming because I had, like, I had a personalized name on the cap and stuff. So I decided to like get a high vis. I got a high vis. And then I went through the back entrance and I was like, oh, just get in, and then he'll see me and he'll be like, oh, it's Ibby, and I can take off the high vis. This is exclusive thing, so because I don't tell no one this, people just see the clothes and think, oh yeah, it's his friend. But no, there's much more to it. But I just like had my clothes, walked straight through the back entrance. Security were awful, by the way. If you know anyone who works in the arena, they need to up their security. But I literally walked straight through. But the only bad thing was I walked in at like 2 p.m. and the event started at 6. So I was like in the toilet for like 3 hours. Like I was just wandering upstairs for like 2-3 hours, and then I heard them doing a sound check. So I went downstairs, seen him. He's like, "Oh, why are you wearing a high vis?" And then I ended up giving him the clothes, and he wore it on stage, and it was sick because that was when I was growing. Like, you know, like when you're growing and there's still like a lot of doubt and people know about your brand, but they're not buying into it, etc. There was like 10,000 people there. Not 10,000, like 8,000 people there, and it was like everyone I know, everyone I grew up with, friends of people I know, etc. And they were all in that room, and he wore my clothes on stage, and that was the best thing ever. And I kind of dazed out, like I didn't even give a damn about anything else going on. I just kind of like idolized him. I was just like lost in I was just lost in my thoughts, and that was like monumental for me, because like that kind of went viral, and then a lot of people started buying my clothes, etc. And I could sit here for days and tell you all these stories, but I don't wanna expose myself. But yeah, there's the moral behind the story is you kind of gotta keep going. I had an email from like 2 years ago from Foot Asylum as well. You guys know Foot Asylum? Yeah. So 2 years ago I had an email. No, a year ago actually, I had an email from Foot Asylum. They wanted to do like wholesaling to purchase my stock to be in store in Cardiff and in Swansea, Bristol, and London. And I was gonna do it. I was actually gonna do it. I was gonna like put my stock in there, sell some clothes, etc. But I kind of understood fashion, like because I was very naive and I didn't understand what was going on. I kind of understood that it would kind of destroy my brand in a sense of they'll buy wholesaling price, which is not even that much money. You make a little bit of money, but and then they kind of dilute your brand. You'll be in every store, you know, any access for anyone to buy it, even someone who hasn't got drip, they'll just buy it, and it kind of just ruin your brand because there's no exclusivity, there's no demand for it. It's just always there, etc. And also they could put on like sale prices on, which was like a huge moment of for me, because that was during a period when I was doing the Cardiff City collab. So I was like on a high and I was getting all this like offers, etc. And I kind of sat down and spoke to myself and kind of understood, are you happy right now? What are you doing? Do you want to do this? Is this what you want to do? And every single answer I had to myself was like, no, you got to kind of stay what you want to do and be exclusive, and kind of, you'll get it. It's only 3 years I had this brand, like it's not like 10 years. Maybe I would have said yeah if it was 10 years, but yeah, I kind of said no to that. So moral of the story is, throughout all of this, I kind of mentored myself as well, because there was no mentors that was doing the exact same thing that I knew anyway, that was doing what I was doing where I'm from. So it was very hard. So like YouTube was my best friend, a guy in China was my best friend, my manufacturer, and it was like manufacturers all around the world that I worked with. I worked with screen printers in Cardiff. I worked with manufacturers abroad. I work with like people in London as well. But yeah, the moral of the story is like, my aim is to keep creating history and tell Wales and represent Wales and try be monumental in everything I do. So yeah, I think this is the end of the slide. Yeah. So that's my Instagram. My name's Ibby. Are we good on time? Is this enough, or do you want me to?
We'll do some Q&A.
Q&A, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys.